Dylan Nolan reporting outside of the State House for FITSNews. Behind me you can see the remnants of a very large crowd of protesters, parents, teachers, and school children who are very upset with Richland School District 1's recent decision to move teachers from more than 11 schools to different schools. They did not tell the teachers in advance, they did not tell the parents in advance. I'm going to cut to a number of parents explaining their grievances, and then I have an interview with a parent who tells me what he'd like to see for the district moving forward.
I saw Dr. Witherspoon speak in some sort of press conference about the moving teachers, and what he said was that it was about numbers, that numbers changed, and that's not the complete truth. What actually happened is that there are vacancies that have been vacancies all year. They were vacancies last year. We have vacancies across the district. So it's not an actual solution to take a teacher from one set of students and give that same teacher to a different set of students and call it a move made based on numbers. The move was made because the district hasn't hired teachers.
Well, and by doing this, they're creating more options for teachers to want to leave.
Yeah,
we're trying to keep
absolutely.
teachers, and they want to leave even more now because they can't guarantee where they're going to teach at.
This
They
is
can
the
be
worst
pulled up.
recruiting tactic that they could come up with right here.
Yeah.
Where are the metrics for the recruiting? How do we not know how many applicants there are, how many people they've taken? We need those are the numbers that we need, Heather. We need to understand the metrics for recruiting and hiring for this district.
And they've just increased numbers of kids in a classroom in these 3rd and 4th grade classrooms. What's going to happen to test scores? What's going to happen to all the things that they're looking at?
The people that are impacted by this the most do not look like me. And we know that. We all know this. And I would say that, the board and the administration, they get several opportunities to make mistakes. These kids don't have a second chance when they're going through school, right? This is the chance they get to get great education. And everyone deserves it regardless of what neighborhood you live in.
Yeah, it's not about numbers. It is about
Right.
the fact that they have classrooms that they have not staffed. That is the failure.
And I think a lot of people like to blame this as like a teacher crisis. And I think I read something that says we don't have a teacher crisis. We have a crisis where we have administrators who don't respect teachers, who aren't accountable to any decision they make. Nothing's made with transparency. And so teachers want to go to a different profession or private schools. And I think we have a public education crisis because this is our future. Like these students are what is going to make this city and this state and this country better. And if we continue to fail them, what does our future look like?
I'm Dylan Nolan here for FITSNews at a massive Richland School District 1 protest. I am here with Josh Parks, a father of how many children in the district?
I have 3 kids.
So what have been your experiences with Richland School District 1 over the years?
My kids, we coming up in the district, you become more and more aware of the little things that are happening inside, behind the scenes, and there's just a lack of transparency. I think this is one of the biggest issues that I see in the district. It's a lack of transparency that starts at the top, all the way from the superintendent through the district office and down to the decisions that affect even individual schools and classrooms.
And that kind of ties into this latest issue. What happened here was that teachers from 11 different schools were moved between different schools about 90 days into the school year without alerting the parents. So this was a real blindside that has gotten clearly hundreds of people upset.
And not just blindsiding parents and students, but the teachers themselves. They were given no notice. They were told, a lot of them were told at the end of the week last week, Monday morning you're going to be at a different school. They didn't get to even say goodbye to their students. So, and obviously a lot of parents and students were traumatized by this to find out through email there's going to be teachers moving to different schools, and you may not have the same teacher when you show up on Monday morning.
Yeah, and this is a district that's had recruiting problems for years. This is the kind of HR disaster that I don't think is going to make many aspiring teachers want to go work at Richland School District 1.
No, and and teachers have already quit because of this. Several have thrown in the towel and said, I'm not doing this. And they've already, add this to a pile of frustrations, legitimate frustrations that teachers have. Just being a teacher right now is hard. Being a teacher in Richland One is really hard, and then have this it's just the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of teachers.
And you're somebody who's been engaged with this, it sounds like, for quite some time. I think there's a lot of people here that this might be their first time with the Richland One rodeo. What do you have to say to them as far as actually achieving some change here? Because it seems like this has been the status quo for quite some time.
I'm so excited to see how many people are out here. Yeah. The frustration has been simmering below the surface for a long time with a lot of parents. I think this has been a cause to rally around. And I expect to see something get organized out of this, something more long-term, a change campaign. I expect to see a lot of people calling for new leadership in the district. I expect to see parents getting involved who maybe were on the sidelines before, saw some stuff, was frustrated, they were confused, but now are galvanized around this issue and want to see leadership change. The thing is we don't necessarily know all the issues, but we know that how it's being handled is very poor. We know that the leadership has been making terrible management decisions, terrible leadership decisions. And we also know that there's a lot of corruption behind the scenes, and parents are fed up. And so they're going to dig into it, and hopefully this will be the start of something more organized going forward.
And just to expand on that corruption, we reported on the misuse of purchasing cards in the district, and there was actually an indictment following a SLED investigation of a former district employee. So these aren't, mere allegations being thrown around. These are serious problems within the district. So hopefully you're right, and this is galvanizing something that will facilitate some change in the future. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You can count on FITSNews to hold elected officials and school officials across the state accountable. If you've appreciated this video, be sure to subscribe both here on the YouTube page and to the website on FITSNews.com.